Hi, this is Randy Randall of No Age and host of the podcast Hyphenate with Randy Randall. I want to welcome our newest sponsor of the show, DistroKid. DistroKid helps musicians get their music on all the major streaming platforms, and artists keep 100% of their royalties. Hyphenate listeners get 30% off at distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate. Again, that's distrokid.com/VIP/HYPHENATE. Go get your music streaming everywhere now. What's happening? Thanks for tuning in to Hyphenate Halftime for today, Monday, August 5th. That is the 2 days. I am very lucky and honored to be graced with not one, but two guests on this halftime show. For our first time ever, Mr. Aaron Farley and I are very pleased to welcome Mr. Dorian Holder. How are you, Mr. Dorian?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. How are you guys?
Thanks. This is good. I think this is part of our what we're calling it, Summer Tour or International. Hyphenate goes international.
Oh, yeah.
Dorian is calling in from Osaka, Japan. How many hours ahead of Los Angeles are you? You're in the next day, right?
Oh, yes. It's, I think, is it 16? 16 hours ahead?
16 hours ahead.
Yeah.
That sounds right. Okay. So same time. So, not to date this, but if it's 6 p.m. here, then 10 a.m. there. So 6 a.m. plus 4.
Yeah.
12 plus 4.
A day ahead.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. I figured it out.
But then technically, it's actually closer if we go back in time. If we were to go to the west, right?
You're blowing my mind here now.
Yes.
Because he'd never fly to the east, but time goes to the east. But really, we're actually closer to the past.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put that out there.
Time is a flat circle, bro.
Yeah, man. Just like the earth.
Yes. Awesome. Well, today we are talking about last week's interview with Golomb. I think that's how it's pronounced. Golomb. Yeah. What did you guys think? Had you heard their band before? This was a band that was new to me. I imagine it's new to most people. They seem like they're just getting started. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I hadn't heard them before, so I went and listened to some of the songs, like scrolled through, and was like very pleasantly surprised. Although listening to the interview, it seemed like they were going to be good. I had good expectations from the beginning. They were making very good musical references, and they talk kind of like slow and chill. So it was like, okay, they're not overly self-promoting. That's good. They're just having a conversation, man. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think, Dorian?
Yeah, it was my first time to hear them as well. Yeah, I enjoyed the interviews. They seem really cool. I think it's awesome that it's all in the family, especially like you just wake up and go record or jam whenever you want. That's a dream. But
I know when I first read their bio, I was definitely confused. It was like husband, wife, brother, sister, and I was like, don't be a two-piece, don't be a two-piece. And I was like, okay, they're a three-piece.
I did like your White Stripes reference.
Yeah,
that's what this is actually what. Yeah,
that's what they said. That was always the question, right? When the White Stripes first came around, like, what's the story? Who are these people? I think they played with that.
Yeah, I guess at least these guys answered the question honestly. Instead of going like, I don't know, one of them is my husband and one of them is my brother. It's up to you to figure that out.
You tell the difference. Yeah. Sorry, Dorian, I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
No, I went and listened to two of their EPs and an album. It was a big jump, I thought, sonically from like their self-titled album to like their more recent stuff. It's grown a lot. It's really cool. I dig it.
Yeah, and they talked about it a little bit in the interview too, just the recording process going from tape to digital and that sort of thing of like, is tape's supposed to be cooler, but it was such a pain in the ass to record.
Oh, they could go back and add more layers and whatnot. They're talking about the feedback layers and stuff. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I realize we just jumped right into it, but Dorian, we should give some background and context to you and how I know you. We met in Osaka, where you live, when No Age was on tour. But tell me a little bit. I mean, how did you find yourself in Osaka, and where do you come from? What's your background?
Yeah, I'm from Tennessee. I grew up in a small town outside of Knoxville, and let's see. I met my my wife is Japanese, and we met in '99 online through like a music message board, or I guess that's what they were called back then. And we did like the long distance relationship for a couple of years, and after she graduated from university, we were like, oh, we want to be together. So, are you coming over here, or am I going over there? So I decided to get on the plane and come over here. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know if that's a big choice of like Osaka or outside of Knoxville. What did you have like a big choice to make, or are you like, no, I made this choice a while ago?
It was interesting. Yeah. Cows or buildings.
What was that the first? Was that the first time you guys had actually met in person? Was when you flew over there?
No. She
okay.
She came over to the States a few times, like on holiday.
Okay.
Yeah. So
It
it wasn't like,
had you gone over there before?
I came over once for her university graduation. That was like maybe 3 months before I moved over here. And
Okay.
so yeah, that was my first time to leave the country. So
Wow.
just
wow.
jumping over here in Osaka is like, whoa, this is all so wild. And it's so different.
How do you like Osaka?
Oh, I love it. It's home now. Yeah, I've been here for almost 24 years now. 25.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's amazing.
24.
So you moved in '99?
Oh, sorry. No, almost 24. Yeah. So I moved 2001. Almost. Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah. It's almost half my life here now.
Wild.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Did you speak any Japanese before moving there, or what was your
Zero.
Japanese language like?
I had no interest in the country, just her. So I know some people like head over here and they're like, yeah, I want to live in Japan. But and my Japanese is still really bad. But I make it.
But you were able to get around.
Yeah. I never really had any problems.
Yeah.
You could always find someone that spoke English. And now with like translation apps, it's so much easier. And there's English pretty much everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was my experience as a tourist, or a band being on tour there. I knew little to no Japanese, but English signs and just looking like a helpless, dumb white guy. Lots of people understood that face I was making, and like, hold
Right.
on, we'll get you to the right person to talk to somebody. Like, I see what you're doing here. We can figure this out.
Yeah, most people
It
are.
definitely stood out.
I was gonna say most people are friendly.
Seems like a very helpful place.
Yeah.
People would be helpful
Yeah,
for the
Definitely.
most part.
yeah. But it's a nice place to live. Yeah.
What got
That's
you
amazing.
to the music message board? What's your interest in music from like when you were younger?
Oh, I've always been interested in music, like since, I don't know, just a little kid. I think like my mom once told me like the first song that she heard me sing was like Another Brick in the Wall, part 2. Like when I was like maybe 3 or 4,
Nice.
I was just like
That's
singing
amazing.
along with like the
Yeah.
albums and stuff. Yeah, music has always been a big part of my life. Like, I guess like in elementary school, getting into hip hop, then like later elementary school, get into metal. And then by the time I hit high school, that was like when the whole alternative grunge punk stuff came into my life. Yeah. And so in elementary school back in the day, we could join brass band, I think from 4th grade.
Yeah.
So I was always part of the
Mhm.
music program, like from elementary school to high school. Had a rock band in high school. Yeah, so music's always been important to me.
That's cool.
So did you guys play out? Did you play in like Knoxville and
No, we played like a
around? Or?
couple of house parties, but Yeah.
That's awesome.
We recorded a
Love
tape.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I remember I had on from the Red Scare. My brain's deteriorating
Yeah.
right now. Kip.
Mhm.
Yeah. Did you ever cross paths with him? Was that around the same time with the Red Scare and those guys in Knoxville?
I think maybe I was looking at their timeline. I think maybe they were like getting big about the time I was leaving. So I'd never heard of them.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're a couple of years after you. Yeah, I know the Knoxville. We always played the Pilot Light.
Yeah,
That's the bar there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a interesting place.
Seems like it's been there forever.
Mhm.
It probably hasn't changed much in the years.
Yeah.
I love your memory of venues, by the way, Randy. Every
Me?
time someone mentions a city, you're like, "Oh, I'm going to give you my top 3. Here's
Yeah.
where we played that was horrible.
Here's
Here's the place that was pretty good, and then we played this guy's backyard, and here's
Yeah.
the address."
Yeah.
Like
I
you
mean,
have
I'm-
such a detailed memory for
Oh,
all of that
God.
stuff. It's amazing.
I'm shocked. I feel like my memory is Swiss cheese at this point. Like I definitely, if anything I can recall, I'm forgetting 10 other things. It's really was like, it's insane. I'll talk. You know, you could have the same conversation with Dean, and he'd remember 10 different places. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That like, and he'll ask me, "Don't you remember that guy, that thing? And we did this thing with we went to the here and did that." I'm like, I got nothing. I got
It's
no
also
memory of
the-
that whatsoever.
It's also probably the benefits of being sober for so long that your
Yeah.
brain had enough of a chance to like redo all of its brain cells early enough before they just started going anyway.
Well, funny enough, yeah, my memory definitely gets a lot sharper after that, around that 2010 period.
Yeah.
From 2000, from 95 to 2009, it's all a little bit. I remember the beginning of the night, and then the end of the night's always a little bit fuzzier. But it's nuts. But yeah, Osaka, we've just played the same club in Osaka.
Compass.
What the hell is it called? Compass. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a cool club. It's really tiny, but it's got a great backline. But it's always been great shows.
Yeah, I've seen a couple shows there, and yeah, it's a cool club. Yeah.
Yeah, does that have something to do with the boredoms? That was kind of what I think was told
There.
to us at some point.
I don't think that venue is. There is a place called
Okay.
Namba Bears, and that's owned by what's his name, Yamamoto Seichi. He was a guitar player
Mhm.
in the Boredoms. He still owns that club.
Okay.
And he has another club in Kyoto that I recently went to for the first
maybe
time.
that's what we played.
It's like
Okay.
maybe not. It was like really, really, really small. It was
Okay.
maybe it's more of a bar than
yeah.
but
Okay. Yeah, our first time to Japan, we were filling in for Marnie Stern, the guitar player. She's a shredder. She plays on Seth Meyers a lot, but she did a record with Zach Hill from Hella, now Death Grips.
Mhm.
So they booked a tour. It was going to be Marnie Stern and Zach Hill, but I guess Zach canceled, and our friend who was the promoter was like, "Oh, I need a replacement thing," and so he offered us this tour really quick. Our friend Katoman from Tokyo, who had brought over a lot of other American bands, and we had helped him with one of his bands, Nisan Mondai, when they were on tour here in the States. We booked shows and did a tour with them on the West Coast. So he basically emailed us and was like, "Can you guys come to Japan for like 2 weeks in a month? Like 1 month from now, can you come over for 2 weeks?" And it was just like, whoa, like, yes, let's do it. And we've never done a tour that long again in Japan. All the tours have always been really short, 1 or 2 cities.
yeah.
But this first one, for some reason, he just booked all of these crazy places. And we had a driver who didn't speak any English at all, who was his buddy, who got a van. It was really one of those moments of just like showing up. And we went from the airport, after, whatever that is, a 12-hour flight, 14-hour flight or something, straight onto stage in
Wow.
in Japan, or in Tokyo. We landed.
Oh my god,
Just
you
went-
landed and then just went and played?
Yeah,
Wow.
straight to the stage, and we're just that so tired feeling. It was like, what is happening here? Like, I'm jet lagged. I don't know anything, and like whatever it was, we landed just in time to go right on stage, and then
And have a bunch of Japanese people
then we
standing
just kept-
politely.
yeah,
Instead of like dancing around.
Again, yeah, that's a funny one to even remember. Yeah, everybody's very polite, and then clapped after everything, and then they all lined up and bought every piece of merch we had. It was like, this is amazing.
You're like, I could do this.
It was,
do this more
it
often.
was exhausting, but it also like, I think we just made like $1,000 in t-shirts. Cause the other thing was, that we sold, we always make our own shirts. Dean's brother has a silkscreen shop. So we can, back then, especially, I mean, we could make a shirt for, it only cost us like $3 to make. So we were selling them for $10. That was kind of the punk sort of thing. But I remember when we went to Japan, our host Katsu Man was just like, "Oh no, you have to sell them for at least $40, or else people won't buy them. They'll think they're low quality. Like the price has to be high in order to make it seem like it, or people won't buy it." So we were just like, "Okay, that's insane. We've never sold a T-shirt for $40 or the equivalent of that." And again, but he was right, and it worked. And it was those mind blowing kind of things. It was like,
Yeah.
Okay, I guess this is how this works. Welcome to Japan.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
How many times?
We played Kyoto. Sorry.
I was going to ask, how many times did you all play over here?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I saw you twice.
It was, yeah. I mean, God, I really feel like a jerk now, not knowing the exact number. I feel like this. It's always been impactful. And like one of those like kind of dream come true pinch me moments. I think as a kid, or when I was in high school, there was this there were these magazines like Giant Robot and Tokion, and there was a lot of kind of like, Japanese culture stuff that was sort of crossing over in a cool hip hop kind of Beastie Boys, Grand Royale, Extra Large sort of way. I was a fan of all that. And, the artist Cornelius, I saw, in probably 97 on the Phantasma tour, 98. I don't know what year that Phantasma came out. I saw him on that tour. Yep. And so I was a big fan of just kind of this Japanese alternative culture. It sort of seemed like all this stuff was really cool. So the idea of getting to go there to play music was always like this pinch me moment. Like, I can't believe I'm here. This seems so unreal. Like, I never imagined anything I did would ever be cool enough to warrant me the right to go to Japan and play music. So it was always very special. But the amount of tours, I mean, it's definitely over 5 and probably under 10. I think there was, again, the drinking probably blended together some of those first couple of runs. I can't remember exactly, but we did that first tour was before Nouns came out. I remember we were just finishing recording that record. We were in the studio and Dean and I were arguing. I was like, let's go. We got to go to Japan. And he's like, he wasn't that excited. He didn't share my enthusiasm. So I kind of bullied him into it. Like, fuck you. Then I'll start another band and go. Like, I'm just going to go. Like, are you kidding me? I'm going to go to Japan. I can't, like, that's the bucket list of like, if the band broke up or if I never did anything else, it's like, I got to go to Japan once. Like, that just felt like an accomplishment of some kind as an artist. So we did that first one before Nouns came out, and then we must have gone for Nouns, and then everything in between, I think we went twice. So and then An Object, we definitely went for that. And then I think we came over for the first snares on the An Object one with Dean with the contact mics and stuff.
That was 2014, and it was in the winter. Like maybe
okay,
February.
That sounds right. Yeah. We did a tour with this band Telepathy. They were like a duo, a 2-women duo that was really cool. I think we were kind of like the opening thing for them. And then we did, I don't know, Jennifer from Mika Miko and Bleached. She came with us on the second tour we came over. Or no, maybe that was the first one. It really gets all blurry. I don't know. But we had Aaron, our friend from New York, do like a spoken word thing in English. He was like, had a weird cultural like impact there, because he was like part of a streetwear sort of branding thing. So he's like, yo, if you ever go to Japan, you got to bring me, I'm like famous over there. Like, all right, cool, whatever, And so we booked a thing like, hey, we have our friend Aaron's gonna, Aaron is going to open for us. And so he had no idea what he was doing. I think he kind of bluffed his way into it. So it's kind of like a hip hop spoken word thing. And he got really nervous. He's like, yo, these people don't speak English. I'm like, yeah, it's Japan. You said you wanted to do this. Let's go. But he ended up having fun, and it worked. But it was definitely, there was a lot of shenanigans. I think there was all those. I think it was just the drinking culture too. It's so different, or not so different, but just definitely so encouraged in Tokyo. And I think in that kind of way, it was just like, all right, after the show, then we're going to go to 4 different bars and just progressively get more and more drunk and stumble around. And everybody, you just feel that kind of it's very socially acceptable to be drunk in public there.
Yeah.
And so I think I took advantage of that the first couple times I was over there. It was wild. It's a whole different thing, because I think everything's so safe and calm, which is cool
until Last Train.
But then, I get right, and everyone's passed out, or there's
Right.
something. There was definitely like, it just felt wild. There was, and I was so jet lagged, and then it was just those first couple of times over there. I remember feeling very jet lagged and very drunk, or very hungover. Like it all just sort of mixes together, and the food's different, and I can't, your whole body is like in a different place.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
yeah. I remember, there was lots of, just, it was just that thing too. And like, you couldn't like find weed. Like, remember there was like a thing like, weed is very illegal there.
Yeah.
Like, you'd get like, nobody could even talk about it. But yet somebody knew a guy who knew a guy, and there was, things and stuff. But it felt like, oh, now we're getting like, these things are getting very illegal and very wild here.
Like, why do these guys have all tattoos all over their bodies, and they're telling us not to talk to anybody?
But somehow, we bought really expensive bad weed, and then everyone's very paranoid about it.
Oh man, I bet it is expensive.
As you would be. I mean, being in a place where you're not supposed to do that, and then it actually makes you paranoid, is probably not a great thing a great place to be.
So much whiskey, so much beer, bad weed, hangover, jet lagged, and then karaoke, and then also being vegan, and then there's just a lot of like fermented beans, like the what was it, netto,
yeah.
You just get buying stuff, it's like a fermented like bean dish that you can get from 7-Eleven, so it just kind of smells like cheese, like bad, like moldy string cheese on rice, and you eat that while drinking like a 40 of Asahi, and then just kind of it's just, you can kind of imagine how your body feels after that.
I mean, it probably counteracts the beer a little bit, just like putting all that weird bacteria, probiotics in there to eat up all the alcohol. Oh my God. That's so funny.
Yeah. Oh, but I did get to go. Sorry, this is my Japan rant. But I brought my then girlfriend, now wife, to Japan in 2000. When was this? Probably 12 or 2011. 2012 we got married. So so in 2000, no, it wasn't 2012, beginning part of that year, and proposed to her at Tokyo Disneyland. It was a thing, like, we'd been dating for a couple of years. And so I bought a ring before we went over there, and it was her first time going, and I'd been a handful of times, and we're both kind of Disney nerds, and so we made a point, like we were going to go to Tokyo Disneyland. I was like, okay, this is like this will be the perfect thing, and I totally surprised her. But it was definitely, I was paranoid again, for just holding a wedding ring in your pocket, right, for on a 12-hour flight, and then just hanging out, like, do not lose this ring. She doesn't even know what's going to happen. I can't believe I'm going to do this.
Don't get frisked.
Oh my God,
Customs.
that's amazing.
Empty your pockets.
Yeah.
You're like, no, don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Sir,
don't say
tell
anything.
them. Yeah, it's a wedding ring. And then she lost her passport as soon as we landed in Japan. Also, she didn't know it. She went to the bathroom as soon as we landed in Narita, and then when you check into the hotel, you have to show your passport. It's a different kind of thing. And she couldn't find her, so then we called the Lost and Found in Narita, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we have it right here."
Oh, cool.
And then we were leaving in like 5 days, and Narita's so far out of Tokyo, it's like it's over an hour train ride out. So we're just like, I think we'll just wait. We're going to be back there in 5 days. By the time we had our book, our things, our activities booked, by down to the minute. For those 5 days we were there. Like, we don't have 2 or 3 hours to go there and come back. We'll miss everything we planned. So she just left her passport at the airport the whole time. And then it was funny because after proposing in Japan, I didn't realize, like, we didn't have cell phone service then, or our cell phones weren't working, and we just got to kind of like live in this weird bubble where it's just the two of us that knew that we had done this thing.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a funny thing. It was also kind of nice and sort of romantic. Like, where normally if it would have been in the States, like, she'd call her sister, she'd call her mom, she'd let we'd have a big kind of thing. She'd probably spend the rest of the day talking to everybody else. But because we were so far away and the time was different, and we were in Japan, it was just the two of us. So it was like we just kind of lived in this funny little romantic bubble of like, just like we're the only people that know we're gonna get married. And then when we got home and when the time was right, then she called everybody and let everyone else know. But she took pictures in front of the castle and everything with the ring. And I think when I got down on a knee near the castle, and I didn't really know what was happening or around me, but Shannon was saying she's like I just turned around, you were on your knee, and there were all these Japanese tourists taking pictures of us because it looked like it was some kind of like performance thing, like at the look at these people, and so she said yes, but then she was just looking around. She's like we're on like some family's like photo
Like a
roll
video.
somewhere. Yeah,
You're probably on a video too. So like someone's family trip and like, and we saw a wedding.
Yeah, we're getting engaged.
Oh,
and then but everyone's taking pictures of it because it seemed like like it was part of the show or something. I'm sure we stood out and looked weird. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, what do they have there instead of the big turkey legs? What's the big
Dorian
food?
would probably be able to answer that better. What's the crazy food
at Tokyo Disney?
They do have the turkey legs.
No way.
Yeah, they do.
Oh my god.
Yeah, at Tokyo Disney and Universal
amazing.
Studios Japan. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
I was trying to think. I
remember like popcorn was really popular, like lots of flavors of popcorn.
Yeah, and
like
you
10
can get
or
like
12 different flavors of popcorn at each stand, right?
in a special like case. You can get it in. Like it's a character case or whatever for like $30. But I was trying to think if there's anything that's like really wild. I think it's probably not.
I mean, why do you think that turkey legs like are so multicultural? What is it about Disney? Like, there's no other place that has turkey legs in the world. I don't think. Like, it's the only place that they sell turkey legs. I've never seen a turkey leg anywhere other than Disneyland. And the fact that they have them in Disney, I wonder if they have them in Paris. What's the Euro Disney? Where's that, in Paris?
In Paris, yeah.
We gotta look up a menu for Euro Disney, because if they have, then this could be next year's Hyphenate halftime travel show of eating the turkey legs at all the Disneylands.
Oh god, and then Beijing,
the tour.
and Hong Kong. I can't
if
imagine.
They all have turkey legs, and if they're the same turkey legs,
it's a conspiracy.
The same size.
Do they have them at Universal Studios? Or is it only Disney?
Not here. I don't think so.
They have them at both here, Tokyo Disney and Universal Studios. Yeah.
God, that's crazy.
Yep.
That's amazing.
What if it started at Tokyo Disney and they actually just brought it over? That would be a mind blower.
Oh, maybe it's the same.
As
company.
a nerd, I can tell you the one thing they started in Tokyo Disneyland that has come to the side is Duffy, the teddy bear, the Disney bear. You probably don't know about Duffy, Aaron. No, it's it was a like a mascot they made for it's a teddy bear that has like that kind of has the shape of like a smaller Mickey sort of face. It has like smaller round ears. Yeah, and I think there's like little Mickey ears like on the feet or something, but and there's a whole like line of friends that Duffy has. Duffy's kind of like the travel the mascot of there, right? I don't know, am I doing the bad job? But there's like Gelatoni and who's like a rabbit, and then he has a girlfriend, and there's a duck, and there's a few other animals. They're all like kind of teddy bear shaped, and it wasn't popular in the States, but it became really popular in Tokyo Disneyland, and then people then adopted it. Like, wait, I want the cute thing that they have there. But I think it kind of appealed to sort of the kawaii sort of culture of like the young kind of school girls, and that type of like ultra super cute style of stuff. Like these little like teddy bears sort of worked in that way. And I think like Gwen Stefani sort of popularizing that sort of stuff back here in the States, and that sort of it's like goes back and forth.
I just assumed that
they're trying to get
stuff
some
that
of
didn't sell
Hello Kitty.
I just assumed that the stuff that didn't sell in the States, they shipped it over here to get rid of it. So I thought maybe that's why it blew up.
And maybe, no, I think I mean, sorry, go.
I was just gonna say, like, with the character Stitch, and especially like Chip and Dale, they're like huge here. But I couldn't imagine they are back in the States. It's like you have an alien cockroach.
I think Stitch is pretty big.
Oh, okay.
Like from Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like an anime, kind of like the anime kids kind of gravitate to that character in school. Like you still see like, totally.
Okay.
Like you see a lot of the kids wearing like Lilo and Stitch stuff.
He's sort of the Disney version of the Tasmanian Devil.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, aren't I a stinker? Kind of the wild kid sort of vibe.
Yeah.
Maybe it appeals more to like the boy sort of audience than like the Elsas and Annas and Frozen's.
Yeah, just like yeah, that whole voice, like the Minions.
Oh my god.
I love the Minions. I think the
Did you see-
Minions. I
did
haven't
you see
seen the new one. Don't
Oh,
ruin
God.
it for me, Randy.
Okay.
Don't
There's
tell
a
me
big
anything.
surprise at the end. Yeah, I won't tell you what happens.
Let me guess. They get into a lot of trouble.
Ooh,
Craziness
well,
ensues.
well, all right. I won't spoil it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's wild. All right, okay, we can get back. Yeah, Golomb. I think I was in a sufficient tab to open and go down.
Yeah, the
That's about
Disney.
halftime sized hole. We drove
Yeah.
that through.
So the one question I really was waiting for you to ask that you never asked was what band their parents were in.
You
or
know
her
what?
parents.
I wanted to ask that.
I was like, come on.
kept.
Okay, here
Yeah,
it is. What is it?
oh.
She's like, they used to play all the time and da 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 da. And then it would go on, and I'm like, oh my god, he's not gonna ask. He's not gonna ask. What's going on?
And then she
Wait, what?
even talked about like she borrowed the bass from the parents
Yeah.
or something, or she
we
borrowed
still have
equipment.
music.
and stuff.
My parents
Oh.
still play it. Like I feel like
Yeah.
she even said there's like always music in the house and da 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 da.
Yeah.
And, after my parents were playing, we'd
Is
go
her
down to
dad-
practice, and I'm like, wait, who are they?
Yeah, is her dad Bob Pollard from Guided by Voices? Yeah,
Could be, because where are they from again?
Columbus, Ohio.
And Devo is from where?
Oh well, they're from
Akron.
Akron, Ohio. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So, but it was like same time, right? They were talking
Oh.
about their parents being in bands in like the 70s, 80s.
No, I think it was more 90s. That was the thing. She was kind of because they're young, right? I mean, you can't like. I think these
Well, I
guys
mean,
were born in like
they're in their-
2000.
I think they said they were like 25 or something.
That's what I'm
25,
saying. So they were
26.
born in 2000. So like their parents
That
were
means
like
their parents
playing.
could have been early 90s.
Yeah.
All right.
So
That's
I
a
don't.
good transition. They could have been like early 90s. Can we guess? Should we have a guessing game to see what band their parents were in? Early 90s, Columbus, Ohio. Let's see. Ask ChatGPT for a list of bands from
Oh,
Columbus,
God.
Ohio in the early 90s. Indie.
All right, I'm looking for it. Rascal Flats. No. 21 Pilots. No, that's too new.
No, that's a little late.
I think these are We're New Bomb Turks.
Ooh.
We should have. Oh yeah, huh? I'm not seeing
Okay.
anything. I'm looking for famous bands from Columbus, Ohio.
How about
Ohio
second tier
players.
band? How about how about bands that played with famous bands?
Yes, that's better. Yeah. I don't know.
That could be
man.
the
There's
next
definitely-
time. The next time
Okay,
you
we have to have
you
a
could-
follow up. Like, what is
Yeah,
the
well-
name of your parents' band? I think I wanted to ask, and then she wasn't giving it up, and I was just kind of like, like, if it was something worth noting, then she would have said it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, well, my mom played in,
Yeah.
this band. You're like, oh, that's important to know, but she didn't really say. And I know there's definitely I kicked myself. I should have just asked, but I think we were on to the next thing already so fast. I can never. That's good to know though. Yeah, I do that too when I listen to interviews. I'm like, why are they not asking? So sometimes I have to have that third party sort of editor on my shoulder to go, no, everybody wants to know the answer to this question. Like, I don't really care what the answer of this is, but everyone else is going to want to know this. They'll be mad if I don't ask.
It'd be really funny if it was some random like hip hop group or something.
I would love that. Yeah.
My dad was
I
a
didn't get-
guitar player for Young MC. Those are the best ones.
I didn't
Or, like,
get that
toured
sense.
with-
Yeah.
Yeah, like toured or like someone that toured with and played at Woodstock or whatever.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Like
Right.
that, but that happened, right? Who was it that you were interviewing?
Oh, Taj Johnson.
Yeah,
His dad was at Woodstock. Yeah.
Was
His
that-
dad played.
yeah. My dad played it. Was in the backing band with
I think
uh,
Santana.
Santana.
Yeah.
Yes, and then I think like his mom just showed up, and she ended up just jumping up on stage and singing
The background
with
singer.
someone
Yeah.
as well. You're
Yeah.
like, wait, did you just? And then you just kind of glassed over that, like, yeah, no, it's cool. And then the other thing, I'm like, wait, what?
I had heard
showed
that
up
story.
to Wood-
I had heard
so
that
amazing.
story before. And it's a
love
fun.
it.
Yeah, that one with Taj was funny because I've known him because he's been friends with my wife for a number of years.
Yeah.
So I've heard a lot of the stories like him and like being backstage and Mick Jagger telling
Oh,
him not
so-
to stick his hand in the Coke bowl. I've heard these stories, so I didn't really want to I want to make sure he tells them, but I'm also like, I think I've already asked all my questions.
I love
It's-
stories like
yeah.
that. I love the
yeah.
random when you're listening and then you have to double take and go, wait,
Huh?
did you say Mick Jagger? Like the Mick Jagger, not like you
Yeah.
don't have like a friend Mick that's named Mick Jagger, and I just
No, this is the real Mick Jagger.
misheard.
Yeah. Well, now I'm trying to cut more like video clips. I don't know if you've noticed on the socials, is I'm trying to cut more of these clips so that I can do this social media promotion thing, and like so now when stuff like that happens, it stands out like, oh, okay, now I got like my antenna goes up, like, okay, I got to make sure I clip this for the thing. For the I haven't posted any of these Golomb ones yet, but I think I've added little animations and stuff to it. We'll see.
Oh, really?
Now it's
nice.
yeah. It's there's a way to do it within this Riverside program. You can kind of like make your own promotional clips. But I did some for the Troy von Balthazar. I cut out the stuff he said about Nirvana.
Yeah,
I thought that was worth probably some clicks on the Instagram. I figured anything
totally.
Kurt Cobain related is usually good for something clickable, clickbait.
You get that Nirvana push.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Did you grow up going to concerts, Dorian? What bands were you able to see that came through Kentucky?
Tennessee.
Tennessee, sorry.
Yeah.
My West Coast racism, sorry.
Yeah, anything like
Statism.
past the Mississippi is all the same, right?
my wife grew up in Kentucky.
Oh, really?
Not that helps anything, but she's yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you see shows?
Yeah. I saw 311 twice.
Oh, hey, yeah. 311 has to come up every
I love
episode
that.
now.
I love that.
All right, keep it going.
It's like the last 4
Amber
episodes.
is the color of your energy. Oh. Did you see them on purpose? You wanted to see them, or they were just playing and you came to your
My
That
mom made me
question
go.
does need to be asked, I think.
Yeah. Your mom was in the band. Your mom was dating the guy from the 11.
No, yeah, I went
Oh,
on
no.
my own, and I think that was like
Okay.
maybe for the first 2 albums. I went to see them. I thought
Okay.
the first 2 albums were really good. I thought.
Okay.
I saw
I
Fugazi.
agree.
Well, okay. That's cool. Where did they play?
They played at this place called the Electric Ballroom. It was like near the railroad tracks. I don't know if it's still there or not, but yeah, I saw them when I was in high school. Who else? Like maybe
That's cool.
yeah, punk stuff or like alternative stuff. Not too much really came through, but I don't know. I saw like Allman Brothers, like a couple times.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How far is it from Nashville? That's probably the bigger city than Knoxville, right? Like,
Yeah, it's about maybe 2.5 hour drive.
okay.
Yeah.
So was that where you would go to see bands, or no? Or would those bands you're talking about come to Knoxville?
Oh, this coming to Knoxville. Yeah.
Come to Knoxville. Okay.
Yeah. I went to Nashville and Atlanta a couple times for Lollapalooza. I think I saw like a.
Oh, cool. What year? What year was that?
I think I saw 92. Maybe was that the year with like Pearl Jam and Ice Cube. Yeah.
That would have been
That
the
sounds
first,
right.
the first one, right?
It wasn't the first one
92?
because I think Jane's Addiction was on the first one,
Jane's.
and I didn't.
Oh, okay.
They weren't on the second one.
Okay.
Saw
The first one was
No,
Nirvana on the
Ice-T.
first one.
No, Nirvana never
Ice-T,
played.
Jane's Addiction.
Ice-T, Rollins Band, Susie and the Banshees, like Nick Cave. I think that was all the first one.
Oh,
I
okay.
could be wrong.
Have
I just
you
know,
heard-
Butthole Surfers.
Right.
There's the story of like Gibby Haynes like firing a shotgun from the stage.
Yeah. Have you heard the Rollins, like his podcast when he talks about that? Just the whole podcast, the whole hour or whatever is him just talking about Lollapalooza.
It's great.
No.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's like one of the best. I think it's one of the best. Whatever that podcast that he had,
Heidi and Henry.
him and Heidi. Yeah.
Yeah, his assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was cool. It was a funny podcast. But then that one was so like engaging of how he told that whole story was unreal. And that they played at like 2:00 in the afternoon or something, right? They played first.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Love it. Anyway, back to the our podcast.
We should just talk about Henry Rollins. Let's just change the Henry Rollins podcast.
He's awesome.
I like that.
Listen here, Randy Randall.
That sounds more
Have
like
you heard
Watt.
this
That's,
new
that's the
7-inch?
That's the Wattcast.
Oh,
Okay,
man.
cat.
Hey, man. Okay. So what I'm gonna do? Hey, sweet. Tell me about your band, man. Tell me about getting in the van and just getting out there and going on the road, man. This is what it's all about, Randy. I loved that podcast when you were on his podcast.
Oh God,
you and Devin too. And it's just I listen to both of them, and I'm like, oh, I love Mike Watt. He's like one of the most he's just like himself, perfectly.
Oh my God,
like he's just him. Like I got to hang out with him a couple times here, like shot photos of him once, and then he also came in. Sippy brought him into our radio show, and Jeremy and I had our show.
Oh, that's good.
Once, and I was like, did you bring Mike Watt to our radio show? He's like, hey guys, and he brought us all like get in the van stickers. He just that was nice. He was there promoting his whatever.
Man in the van with the bass in his hand.
Yeah. And the whole time we were just looking at him like, that's really Mike Watt. He's sitting right there. He's talking about stuff. This is crazy. I love it. Anyway,
that's amazing.
Back to
podcast. Dorian knows Watt. How did you meet Watt?
Oh, well, that's like, got to go back to when I met my wife. Okay, so
take it back. Got to go back. Okay, Dorian. This cat Dorian, right? Had to meet his wife.
You ever listen to jazz?
That's like what Coltrane would say, right?
Coltrane.
Before the movement, right? It's very like almost like Macho Man. Hey, got the movement.
Oh, he is like the Macho Man of punk.
Oh yeah.
God. Oh, now it's ruined. He is the Macho Man of punk, 100%. I love it. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so yeah,
so this
how did you meet Watt? Yeah.
Music message board that I was on when I met my wife. It was for a band called Chibo Mato.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and occasionally like Yuka Honda would hop on there, and she was in the band, the keyboard player, and so I became friends with her, and she knew all about my situation and me moving to Japan, and I think like the first summer I was over here, she came over for to do like Summer Sonic, and she invited us to go see that, and then we went to another thing that she was doing in Tokyo, playing with a band called Buffalo Daughter. And so like after the gig, we were hanging out, and the band that opened up for Buffalo Daughter was called Smorgas. And there was this drummer, her name's Yuko Araki. She was playing with them. And so Yuka introduced me to Yuko. And then it turns out Yuko is also the drummer for Cornelius. So I became friends with her, and she had this band going. It was called Migu. And she was getting ready to go on tour, like a world tour with Cornelius, and she just released this album. So I was like, I think this album is really good. And this was like the time of MySpace. So I was like, let me make you a MySpace page. We'll put some music up, take some CDs with you. And she did a tour blog. And I said, like my wife will help me translate it, and then I'll touch up the English. So like while you're over there, people can like check out what you're doing in English. And at that time you had to like invite people to like your page. So I was like trying to build up her page, and I was trying to think like, oh geez, who can I ask? And I was going through my music, and it was like, oh, Minutemen. See if Mike Watt's on here. So I sent him like a friend request, and he like, I think like a day later, he like shoots back a mail, and he's like, oh, this is awesome. And he thought I was Yuko. So I was like, no, my name's Dorian. But yeah, she's actually over in the States right now, and she's coming to California. I'll see if I can get you like on the guest list so you can meet her. So he went to the Cornelius gig, and then they hit it off. And so I think like maybe like a year later, he wanted to come tour Japan, and he started a band with her and her husband. It was called what was it? Brother, Sister's Daughter. And so he came over here, and they didn't have any songs, so they just get up on stage and like improvise for like an hour and a half. And they did like the same thing, like
but they're such ripping musicians, like it's a key and a tempo, and they're good to go.
And they did like a tour, like basically what you're saying, like maybe the first No Age. They just like went everywhere in Japan. And yeah, so anyway, that's how I met Mike Watt when he came over here. And because of that connection.
That's cool. Was that show that you set Mike up to go to for guest list for a Cornelius show?
Yes.
For Amigo show.
Cornelius.
For a Cornelius show. Was it at the Disney Concert Hall?
No, it was
Do you
before
remember
that.
If it was that show?
No, it was
Okay.
before that. It was like something ballroom was it El Rey or something like that?
The El Rey? Okay.
El Rey.
I was at that show too. The El Rey one was when Elijah Wood got up on stage and did the thing with the sampler. You know how Cornelius would pass around the 202, like that with the sampler with the batteries in it, and in like a 40-foot like lead, and he'd like have people like hit the sampler.
Yeah.
He brought Elijah Wood on stage because Elijah Wood got it, was crowd surfing or something. And then Elijah Wood like jumped up on stage and was doing it there. And I think this was probably just before Lord of the Rings, or maybe right around that same time as Lord of the Rings. So it was like, oh shit, that's Frodo's on stage with Cornelius.
Were they wizard samples? Like they were all just like.
But I remember he did that when I saw him for the Phantasma tour, and that was at the Troubadour, like a much smaller club.
Mm-hmm.
But he still had all like the projections synced and everything. And then I saw Cornelius. Then the next time he played the first Coachella in '99.
Oh wow!
But still on that same kind of tour, you know, with all this, it was basically the same set that he had like done at the Troubadour show.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time was for the Point, no point. What is it? Point on point, and then that was the El Rey show, and then I saw him again the next one. Sorry,
I was going to say like the difference between the Phantasma to Point, like the projections and video synchronous. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's crazy.
And
yeah, he definitely like stepped it up, and it was huge.
I just saw the 30th anniversary tour show, and that was insane. That was
the 30th year for Phantasma?
No, for just him being an artist. Yeah, 30-year anniversary.
Oh, just for being okay. Wow.
Yeah,
that's wild. And then but then at the Walt Disney Concert Hall, I went, and then there was like because by that point I had gotten to know his manager, or the American side of things, the manager he had here, and so he put me on as the guest list to go backstage, and Watt was also going backstage. And so we kind of were like standing in the same line, getting our IDs checked to go to the after party at the Disney Concert Hall. They have like a nice, sort of conference room. And so we were talking, and I'd played with Watt at the Walt Disney Concert Hall, like probably just a few years before. We did the Glenn Branca, like 100 guitars thing, and Watt was part of that. They had like, I think 8 bass players, and then whatever 92 guitars or something. So wow. So it was funny. I remember talking to Watt, like, I remember we just played here a couple of years ago, and like, Disney Hall, man, with acoustics.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I always get the sense that Watt is like half mad at me. Or whenever we talk to, or just in general, he just has a kind of crankiness, like, get it together, man. I'm like, are you talking to me? Like, I'm talking to Watt. Come on, you're fucking up, Watt. Like, and then I didn't know how to use Skype. I remember I had to like download Skype and like put credits on it to be on his podcast. Don't call it a podcast. That was the first thing I did wrong. Right. I called it a podcast. Radio show. It's a radio show. Yeah, he's very sensitive about that. This is not a podcast.
It's a radio
brother.
Show.
I just got an email about that the other day.
God.
Because
did you call it a podcast?
I did, because he's been playing.
He's going to come after us.
Some of my music.
This. He'll never listen to this.
He's been playing some of my music. And I said, "Oh, thank you so much for taking the time to play it on your podcast." And he's like,
"Oh shit! Use the P word."
That's what he typed, P word. He's like, "In my 23 and a half years doing this, I've never used the P word."
Yeah.
I'm just like,
which P word are we talking about?
That would be funny. You're like, oh, there's 3. I wrote 5 P words in that which sentence. Which one am I not supposed to use?
Which one's the P word? Oh God.
But I was just
it's awkward.
Yeah, I was just like, sorry, man. But thanks.
Just
anyway.
Apologize.
Yeah. Don't take it too seriously.
It was and then I think it's his, he lives in his own time zone, and he's in his own world of things to be offended about. But because then he explained to me the history of Skype, and like Polish brothers, and they'd made this thing, and it was before Zoom, and it was before all this other technology, and it's still like the best form of technology for communication on the planet. I'm like, Mike, it's not working. I don't know, man. I just gave him like $20 on my credit card, and just shit's not working.
No.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be on your podcast, but you're making me download some.
It's a radio show, man.
Ancient technology, yeah, exactly. And then it's like, oh fuck, like Jesus Christ. I definitely felt like
I love how he also chose to use the most the oldest form of televideo conversation. It's like, no, this is the original, man. It's like recording to tape.
Yeah. It really was a trip. But again, I'm so honored and so nervous in that way, as being a fan. So it's like I'm trying to do my best to not fanboy out all over him. But it's also then I'm like, oh shit, I think I'm like fucking this whole thing up.
Yeah.
But the other funny thing about, sorry if we're just airing Watt laundry. I remember when we were in Japan, one of these tours, there was a woman who was very nice, and she's a little bit older, but she seems to go to a lot of concerts.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Eiko.
But and then she was like, yes, yeah, but she's like, oh, Mike and I, we go out or something. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know how that works. I don't know anything about Watt's love life. I don't know. This has never been a public conversation, but I was like, okay, that's cool. Whatever. Hey, good job. Nice to meet you. And then literally the plane ride back, she was on our flight. She's like, oh yeah, I'm going to LA to visit what? Mike. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I guess this is a real deal thing. I don't know. And then at the LAX terminal, the international terminal, like when we go through customs, go through everything, and we're wheeling our bags with our gear and stuff out there, and Watt is waiting at LAX
with his van
for her. Yeah, of course. Yeah, with the flannel and flip flops, little fisherman's hat, and he was waiting for her. I was like, holy shit, this is real. She wasn't lying. I didn't know. I don't know how these things work, but
she's really
like, cool. How's it going? Yeah, she's super cool. She was very nice.
Yeah,
but yeah, we were like, I
met her.
Just, just like next to those like things.
I met her through Watt. Yeah. At the first gig.
She's cool. I follow her on Facebook now. She posts great photos of like every band that comes through. It seems like she takes lots of pictures.
Yeah.
Posts her set list and stuff.
She's right up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's
like
so funny.
Awesome.
But yeah,
as soon as I met Watt at that, I went a little bit early to like the first gig, and he's like, I met him. He's like, oh cool, blah blah blah, and he's like, let's go get some chow. I was like, what? I just met you. You're like my idol, and you're like, let's go get some food. I'm gonna eat dinner with Mike.
Yeah,
Watt. He's so down to earth. But
he really is.
Yeah. I think the next time.
Well, I think it's like it's more like he lives in the military. It's like you know what I mean. You're a brother in arms. Like you're like a military like partner. If you're at the show, if you're at the gig, if you're helping him out, you're like part of the crew. You know, and it's like he's like you're like on the boat with him, and he's like, okay, here's how it works. Watt does this. Watt goes over here. Watt needs this. Watt does that. And you're like, okay, you're part of his like team now.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. You were saying,
I was gonna say the next time he came around a couple years later, he brought Nels Klein with him in the band, and I got to meet Nels for the first time. Maybe that was like 2009 or 2010. And then
that's cool.
Shortly after that, I hear that Nels and Yuka from Chibo Mato are getting married. It's like, whoa, what a weird connection. But
what a small world.
It is. It's really weird. Yeah. So I've got to meet Nels a couple of times. Really cool. Really cool.
I saw Mike Watt in the Flying Saucer Attack, I think it was called, at the Lollapalooza. I think it was 95 Lollapalooza, where Sonic Youth was the headliner and like Hole and stuff. But like Watt played the side stage, and I remember just being so blown away. And it was like Nils was in the band, and I met Watt at that thing, and then we talked about that shirt.
Yeah,
you had the shirt from that tour. Did you go to that? Did you go to that tour?
No, I found it online.
The story was on that.
I just found it online.
Oh my god!
And I'd had it for like maybe 2 years, and then I heard you talk about it on that podcast. I was like, I've got to send it to him.
Yes. Oh my god! It was the coolest shirt. It was like a brown shirt with like orange like silkscreen design on it. And I had it as a kid. And it was it was such because I remember meeting him and like he was signing stuff at the merch booth, but he had put like sunblock or sunscreen on and just sweated it all into his eyes. So the whole set he's just like like Watt's in pain. Watt can't see, man. The sun blocks. It's in my eyes, and I'm just like again now I'm just like a nervous like 14-year-old like, oh, Mr. Watt, could you sign my my T-shirt or my record or like Watt can't see. I was like, oh God, I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing.
I mean,
I'm so sorry, Mr. Watt. I'm just trying to sign my. Oh God. Okay, I'm gonna leave now. No, come back here. I'll sign your shit, bro.
I feel like there should be a Talking Heads, like a documentary of just people telling stories about the times that they met.
Wattcast.
Like what?
The Wattcast. The W word.
Because I don't even know. Like I don't know him at all, and I have four stories.
Watt
just
talk.
from being around.
Right? The Watt talk. Yeah, talking
the
Watt.
Talk.
Oh Watt talk.
Everybody just telling stories about like Watt.
I think this could happen. This could go on for decades.
Because even when I've shot photos of him for a magazine. I don't remember what it was. Maybe Wire magazine. And it was at his studio, which is on the old barracks.
Naval Yard, yeah.
The Naval Yard.
What's that called? That has a name for it. He has a name for that studio.
I don't remember what it is now, but now it's a bunch of like art studios and stuff. But he's like his studio is grandfathered in. So it's like he's had this little shack forever, and they changed everything around and they grandfathered him in, I think. And then so he just still has his little spot. But he came out and he had his like crutches. Do you remember when he had like a hurt leg? He almost died from.
Oh, that's a whole other thing. Yeah, the abscess.
From the abscess, right? Yeah. So it was right after that happened. He's like, "Oh man, almost died like 2 months ago." I was like, "This is how it started." Like I got out of my car and I'm like, "Oh man, you're on crutches." He's like, "Man, I almost died like 2 months ago." And he just goes into the story, and I was like, "Where am I?"
What's happening?
Where
you're in Wattland now. You don't exist there. You're in Pedro.
Welcome to
time.
Wattland, man. Yeah. And I'm like, are we gonna shoot photos, or I'm just gonna sit here and like listen to Mike Watt tell me a story about how he almost died?
That's exactly what you're gonna do.
Abscess in his foot.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh man, I need some help. You know, it's like crutching around. He's like, maybe we should try to shoot some photos of it. I need a chair, man. You get a chair.
It's like, this is your place. I don't know.
It's just
I'm
me
trying to
and
help
him,
you.
And I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. But
I love it. Watt Talk. Welcome to Watt Talk. Talking all things Pedro.
All things Pedro. All things Watt. Let's go. Hey, let's get on the road. Let's go. I love it. I love the way he talks.
Love him. It's amazing. There's a million more stories I could tell, but. Yeah, I mean, every interaction is memorable. That's definitely, it's awesome. I've never not had an interaction that I don't remember everything he said.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like, but it's also like, I bring so much to it too. Cause I mean, I've listened to so much of his music, and I think he's really obviously puts a lot of his soul into so much of that music, you know what I mean? And then the writings, you know, his poetry or just his memoirs or sort of tour diaries, all of that stuff. It's just like, painfully amazing. Like, you know, honest and just out there and exposed and kind of raw nerved. So when you do meet the man, you're like, I'm bringing all of this stuff with it. It's like there's a empathy and a admiration and, you know, this kind of energy again. Like it's just really patching into that thing, and then he delivers. And you're just like, oh god, okay, you just like this 24/7, even when you know it's not a thing he's putting on. This is not a performance. He's like, this is his genuine self. Is so fried. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, I don't know if this is like a version of like autism, or he's on some kind of scale of something that's like just in a different world. I don't know. I think he's just
100%. That's what 100% committed looks like.
Yeah,
he's just committed. He committed years ago to be 100% Watt.
Yeah,
and he just never faltered from that.
Yeah,
100%. Like, nope. I'm headed forward. I got my thing, and my thing is working, and I'm on the path.
He's constantly like recording with people too, right? He's got his proj, like all these proj, and like he puts out like what 3-hour podcasts a week, something like that.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, inspiration. I mean, that's one of those ones, you know. I mean, God bless. Knock on wood. all the heroes and legends, that that aren't here anymore. It's like that's gonna be a heavy day.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to that news.
No.
Hopefully it's not for a long, long time, but
Yeah.
Jesus. I mean, same, you wouldn't think Steve Albini would go.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Of all the names, it's like, could you
Right.
imagine? Like, it's just like, Jesus.
I know.
That's not supposed to happen.
I know. Especially out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, that's a good note to end on. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day, and just think about that, huh? It could happen. It could happen at any moment.
What would Watt say? What would Watt say? That's what. Actually, that's what the t-shirt.
WWWS.
Yeah.
WWWW.
What would Watt say? Yeah. WWW.
Dubba-dubba.
What would Watt
Amazing.
wear? It's just
What would Watt wear? That's it.
just
Yeah.
a flannel.
But you got to go to www.www.
Yeah. Skype. You have to Skype your
You're
answer.
gonna Skype on in. Okay. I'll tell one last
Skype on
Watts.
Go for it.
Watts story on the what would Watt wear tip. I was helping friends at this skate brand it was through Soltech, who does like Emerica and Etnies and these kind of skate footwear places, but they had a clothing company called Altamont that my friend Justin Regan started, and he had kind of asked Dean and I to help like pick bands to be like ambassadors, for like the clothes and stuff. And I think they made cool stuff. And it was, it was the least corporate of all of that kind of world of stuff. Is still fairly mom and pop. Anyway, he asked, he's like, do you think we could make a Watt flannel? Like, what flannel would Watt want? This is now turning into a Dr. Seuss book. What flannel would Watt wear if Watt could wear what Watt wanted to wear?
What Watt wants?
What Watt wants. and so we we'd met him a handful of times, and it had his email at Mindspring or whatever, wherever his email is, and so I wrote to him and was like, hey, is this something you'd want to do? This company's got cash, they'll pay you for your time, and obviously they'll make you whatever you want to make. I mean, this is the kind of world, that early sort of fast fashion stuff of it all, but you could do whatever you wanted to do. Are you interested? And yeah, he was interested, and he drove the boat down to Orange County, past the Orange Curtain, and we all went out for Mexican food and just kind of talked. I introduced him to the Altamont people, and they just said, yeah, whatever you want. And he said, it's over enchiladas, and we were just talking, and he wanted the flannel that he wore on Double Nickels on the Dime. He's like, but he doesn't have it anymore. That's why he wanted it. He's like, if I could get that flannel, but in like extra large and like Watt size now, not Watt from the 80s, and so, but what he said, and they're like, okay, yeah, well, how do we find it? What is it? And he brought because I'd kind of told him what the project was. So he brought like 6 or 7 flannels that he liked, and he knew all about the stitching and the yoke and whatever, all the apparel terms. I had no idea what that was called. Like from those shoulders to shoulder, there's a certain kind of panel here, and there's a thing here and a button, but he wanted those like country Western snaps. So you could just rip it off after shows. He's like, I hate buttons. You got to do the buttons. Yeah, I lose so many buttons when I just rip my shirt off every, like
Oh my God.
like Macho Man. He's ripping the shirts off, so he needs the snaps. He wanted the pearl like snaps like in a Western wear shirt.
Yeah.
But the color, he didn't have it. So he's like, just get the record, just buy the album and just match the colors from that of Double Nickels on the Dime. That's him in the photo, on the cover wearing this thing. He's like, but then the note was like, when they printed it, it turned out a little bit more green. It was never really that much green, like, so a little less green in the for the mistake. So I was like, and again, I have no idea how apparel works. I don't know anything about that world of it all, but I'm like, is this good? Is this what you want? And everybody there were such huge Minutemen fans and Watt fans. It was exactly what they wanted. They were just, the skate nerds, but Minutemen were such a big part of that world, Fire Hose and things. So they're just like, yeah, this is insane. We're going to make the Watt flannel, the exact thing. The man who knows flannels, we're going to be the company that has the flannel. And they fucking did it. It was insane.
Amazing.
It was it takes 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is. And then, and they made it. And like I was there when we gave it to him, and we filmed a thing. It was like a social, or not, it wasn't social media. It was just stuff that like digital assets that lived on the website and stuff. And he talked about it, and it's wild. It totally worked. It was like the flannel that he wanted, and I think he wore, and he got 10 or 20 ones of special size. Cause I think even like skatewear, is always made for these like tiny children.
Yeah.
So even a large is still for somebody who only weighs 75 pounds.
Yeah.
So they were able to make like a 4XL in skatewear. and he got it. You know, he wore
Love
it, and I've seen him. It was insane. It was really cool though to be able just to have that little part of it. I don't know, you know, whatever that means for the bigger, for the bigger sense of the world, but it's in my mind. It was like, this was cool. I was able to connect the loop or, you know, connect some kind of circle in the Watt verse.
I have that flannel.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I have an extra.
How did you find
perfect
it?
ender.
Oh, that was like
How did you find it?
that Aiko. She bought it over there.
Oh, okay.
And when she was in LA, and she
Okay.
brought it to me. That and there was a T-shirt that they also made where he's like
Yes.
got the bass
Yep.
turned up. Yeah.
Like biting the strings on the bass or doing
Yeah.
something. Yeah. From that. Yeah. That, exactly. Yeah. They licensed that from a photographer to do a shirt. It was kind of a capsule. I think what they would call those fashion sort of things. There was
It's
a Watt
interesting.
capsule for that. And he,
I'm not a small man
Sorry.
anymore, but
no,
that extra large does not fit me in the flannel, but then the extra large
That's what I'm
T-shirt
saying.
is really baggy on me. The same, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
yeah.
can still wear the
then that
T-shirt.
goes for the game, the skate, the skate wear. Yeah. Like a big oversized white T-shirts are still popular in the skate world, but like for whatever reason, I don't know why they were making stuff so fucking tiny. I think there was just something about the tight clothes and of their fit models or something for that, for those
Ultimate
seasons.
was always like that the fashion
skinny
at
jeans.
that time was the skinny jeans, and
Yeah, that's where it came out from. Yeah, I mean, the whole company was started because one of the biggest writers for the company, Andrew Reynolds, was pro for America, but then he had a line of like ladies stretch, black denim pants, like Joey Ramone, stovepipe pants or whatever you call those. And but for like a competitor company, for a different apparel brand. And so the people at Soltech were just like, can we make our own apparel brand so we can keep our writers in house and just do them what they want? Because at that point, like that skate style, in those like mid-aughts was such a big, it was like an influential sort of time
massive
for that, whatever the rockers sort of thing, that whole like kind of rocker scumbag look was cool. it was influencing the high fashion world. And so they brought him in house. And so they were able to just basically create their own apparel company for Andrew to kind of stay there and sell stuff. And
I'm still stuck in 90s fashion.
It was cool. It was fun. It was yeah.
I gotta have.
Well, now that's all back, right? Yeah. It all swings around again. I know. But yeah, so it was funny. So for those years, like because our friend ran the company and stuff, and he was always just giving it. Before we'd go on tour, I would like get a box of just like brand new clothes that just fit great, and it was all easy. And I just like open up, like, oh, cool. I'm just gonna take these like brand new jeans and just wear these for this whole tour. And it just felt like for the first 3 or 4 years of the band, it was just so easy. And I've had people comment on like different, because we had a blog back then. It was before social media. It was like, you guys just look like all these photos are like a fit catalog for this brand. And it was like literally we were getting the entire line just like mailed to us. And it didn't feel. I mean, it felt a little fancy, but at the same time too, it was like free clothes, like because we were broke as shit and went from like wearing like Dickies that had holes in the crotch to then like a new pair of jeans that would like last through the tour, and then I'd blow, and then eventually by the end of the tour they'd just be destroyed from just whatever being on the playing every night, blowing out stuff. So it was good R&D though too. We'd tell them like, yeah, so these ones are good, but now there's holes. Here's where all the holes are. Like that shouldn't happen. It has triple stitching, and they said it's this and that. I was like, I don't know. I just wore this thing for 2 months. I had like one pair of jeans I wore every day for 2 months, and here's what happened. I'm like, okay, well here's 6 more pairs of jeans. Like, okay, thanks, I'll wear these. So they're either lost or stolen or destroyed.
You wear them as much as a normal person would wear them in a year.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was, the stress test. I was crowd surfing once in England, and someone stole the shoes off my feet. Oh. And again, there were like some like Soltech shoes that I had gotten just before the tour. Like, oh, these are sweet shoes, and throw them on. And then, but that kind of thing, it was just like easy come, easy go. Like it was just this life of like, what the fuck is happening? Like,
you never got them back? They didn't end up on the floor?
It was the kind of thing where like I was like, it was like towards the end of the show, and I was crowd surfing, and I'm like, you motherfuckers, like, oh, that's kind of funny. And I thought they were gonna throw them up on stage, and I was like, all right, where the fuck are my shoes? What the fuck's going on? I'm like, nothing. I'm like, piece of shit. Like, I'm just gonna like, we're done playing. I had to like walk off stage in my socks. Like, what the fuck just happened?
You they didn't come up afterwards. Like, I found these. Do you think you could sign these for me?
I was hoping or something. Yeah. I was like, no, I need those. I have to wear those. And so the next day we went to a Clark's store, like the Boots people. And then I was like walked in, and And it was
Socks
kind of it was like a busy enough high street kind of thing. It was like England. No one really noticed anything. No one noticed anything. I was like, and just put on some like Beetle boots. Like, oh, these look pretty good.
Yeah.
Kind of waited till no one was looking. And was kind of like, just kind of walked out with my new Beetle boots. And, all right.
Oh wow.
It was this gypsy pirate life. It's like, fuck, if these assholes stole my fucking skate shoes, I guess I'm gonna go get some cool like British Beetle boots. Wear those around. Those are so uncomfortable. It was such the wrong move.
Listen, your country stole my shoes. I will steal a pair of your boots.
That's it. All right. Well, Dorian, thank you so much for joining us. You have a guitar company and you have music out. Do you want to exit through the gift shop and tell everyone where they can follow you and how to find out more about what you're up to?
Yeah, I'm just on Instagram. It's D Holder Guitars. Yeah, I do like mods, some easy builds, stuff like that. Just basically for myself and some friends.
Awesome. Yeah, you made me an incredible guitar. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoy it.
Yeah, I've seen it. Looks amazing.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Man, that was like the best moment ever was when you put that up on Instagram with Scott Spiral Stairs holding the guitar. I was like, oh, right. Pavement. He's got my guitar.
Oh, that's funny. I forgot. Yeah, I think I took it. I did a session for his last solo record. Right.
Yeah, I was like
That's
messaging my friends. I was like, check this out. That was so awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got it in his hands.
Yeah. I'm working on 2 guitars right now. I do some music like on the side just for fun. I put out an album first this summer. It's field recordings. So half the album is like the original field recordings, and the other half are the same recordings, but they're processed with different effects and stuff. Yeah, so that's on Bandcamp and I think Apple Music and Spotify. Free on YouTube.
Do people just look for your name?
Just
Google your name.
D.Holder
on the streamers.
Yeah.
All right.
D.Holder.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, and you used what am I spacing? The sponsored thing. DistroKid. Use DistroKid to get it up. I know we should cut a new commercial. Tell us, what was your experience like using DistroKid to get your music up online?
Yeah, you get like get your VIP bonus or discount there. So that's pretty helpful. And it's really simple. You put up a song, they'll check the levels for you, and if there's an issue, they'll adjust it for a small fee, which I haven't had to do that, so maybe I'm doing something right.
Nice.
And put up your artwork, and you can choose when you want to release it, or if you want it up as soon as possible, they'll do that. Usually takes like a day or two and get like a song up. Yeah, and you can make some pennies if people listen to it.
Super cool. I know we should have a promotion thing going. If you put your music up using DistroKid, you can come sit in on the halftime with us.
Yeah,
at least for something, right? Everybody go out there, get your music up. Yeah, you get your music up for free, or not for free, for a good price, for a discounted price, and then email us at hyphenate@gmail.com and let us know what the link is to your music up on the streamers that you use DistroKid for. And then, I don't know. We'll figure out if we can make it work. I love this. That's such a great idea. I'm glad. I remember when you first wrote me, I was like, oh shit, it's working. I never know. Half of this podcast just feels like just talking into the void. I'm like, is anyone out there? Does this even go to anyone? So I always love when you always have good feedback, and you've always been so supportive of the show. I appreciate it, Dorian.
Oh, you guys are so entertaining.
Awesome.
I enjoy the interviews with the.
I don't know about that. Now you're just lying.
Not get crazy. Don't get crazy.
I enjoy the Thursday interviews, but I think I almost look forward to Mondays more, if I'm being honest.
That's you know what? You're not the first person to tell me that. I've had people tell me that the Mondays really make sense, is hearing, grown men in their 40s babbling on about the aches and ails of modern life. I was like, that's everything. Like, that's everything I'm worried about. I feel like that's the thing that I don't want the show to be.
Isn't that what all podcasts are?
I think
about
exactly
already.
Yeah.
Really, there's more out there.
Oh my God. Yeah.
The only ones.
Cranky white men in their 40s. That's
Yeah.
the 99% of podcasting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Dorian. Thank you so much, man. And thanks for joining us in the future. Tell everybody how have a good Friday where you're at. And then
Thank you.
I guess we'll be on Monday. Fun. I don't even know what day it is. Yeah. Awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
maybe we can do it again in the future.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
And for everybody, we got we got who's coming up? Oh, we got a Pocket Full of Crumbs. This is a great San Francisco trio. I think I just wanted to do something different for summer and just kind of switch it up. You know, we had some international calls, and then I wanted like kind of new young bands. I thought it'd be really fun to just find some new stuff, because I really, I think if anything, like the longer I've been doing the podcast, I really just feel like if there's a way to just encourage and promote people to go see live music now. And I know, again, as cranky men in our 40s, I love going to see live music, but it's hard. It's hard to do. It's hard to motivate. It's not always, I definitely don't do it as much as I used to. And when I think about it, I'm like, there's new bands, like, I want to go and be excited. So I forced myself, if I'm going to talk this much shit about bands, I also got to talk some good stuff and promote new bands and maybe people I haven't heard, at least kind of offset my karmic, balance in the world. So we got a Golomb now. They're on tour on the East Coast. Go find them, go follow them. And then Pocket Full of Crumbs from San Francisco are going to be on the East Coast also. That's kind of why the timing worked out for the two of them back to back also, that they have shows coming up in New York, Philly. So everybody go support local music, go support DIY bands, right?
Yes, 100%.
Definitely.
Sounds good.
Randy, thanks for always doing these interviews.
Awesome. Well, thanks you. I'm glad I get to talk about it. Yeah. I've been having such a fun time. I feel like we're almost up on 1 year. Do you remember when the first one was?
No, I don't. But I was thinking, I'm like, it has to have been a year almost.
Yeah, sometime around here.
Was that with the Death by Audio?
Fall.
Yes.
Ooh, was that the first one?
I think Oliver was the first one. Yeah, he wasn't the first, or maybe it was the first one I recorded. I did a trial run with Joe Plummer from Ruinous, because just to test to make sure make sure all the buttons worked. But yeah, I think Oliver was the very first. So that's probably sometime in August, right? I'll have to look and see. We could have a 1 year birthday party for the podcast.
Make sure we don't miss it.
Not like our kids' birthdays.
Scroll down to the top of your Spotify.
It's impossible. It can't be done. There's no way of finding these things out.
No.
Yeah, we're done. Okay, all right, guys. Awesome. Be well. Take care. I'll see you.